Hello, my name is Carly, and today I wanted to bring you kind of a list of some of my favorite books that I've read throughout the years that just like have stayed with me, that I love to pieces, and like they have just not, like I just always think about them and I always come back to them and I love them so much. These are in no particular order, they're just the way I wanted to talk about them. So let's get started with this. The first one I wanted to talk about was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I really like Jane Austen books. I read them a lot in high school, and this was one of my favorites that I have read by her. It's about this girl named Catherine who, as if you know anything about Jane Austen, she meets a guy and they fall in love and they get married and everything's happily ever after. But what is really funny about what I like about this one is that it's like a comedy. It's a satire on the Gothic novels of this time era. So Catherine thinks this guy that she meets, this guy Henry, like she lives Gothic novels so much that they kind of take over her world. So it's funny because she's so intrigued by all the stuff that's really, there's nothing special about it. Like Northanger Abbey, she thinks of as this giant Gothic, mysterious place, and it's just a normal thing. Henry, she thinks of as like this dashing, handsome, mysterious man when he's just a guy. And so just Catherine's blunders throughout the book, and it's funny. I find it funny, and I love it. And I just recently reread it this past summer because I was like, I really like this book. I want to reread it and remember what was so funny about it. And it's funny. I love it. So yeah, Northanger Abbey. The next one I want to talk about, I've already talked about multiple times, so I won't spend too much on it, is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I may have just read it recently, but like I never want to reread things as much as I want to reread this, in terms of like I just finished this and I immediately want to go back and reread it. Like that just never happens with me. I loved this so much. It's about these two magicians, Celia and Marco, who are kind of forced to compete against each other. And that competition takes place at the Night Circus, aka Le Cirque de Rêve. And it's just so magical and it's so beautiful, and I loved each and every character in this book. I could not get enough of it. I wish it was longer, and it's already like 500 pages long. So, yeah. The third one I wanted to talk about is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. I have pretty much read every book, I think except for like a couple of her earlier ones from Sarah Dessen. And this one, The Truth About Forever, is like, even though it follows the same plot line as pretty much all of her books, this is the one that has really like stood out to me, and I've read it many times throughout, like since the first time I read this. Like I've read it multiple times. This one's about a girl named Macy who, like after her dad dies, she kind of feels like she has to be this perfect person, so she's got to get all the straight A's, 4.0. She's dating like this guy who is really smart, but is kind of more into himself and his own thing than really, but she feels safe there. But she kind of has these expectations on her to be this perfect person. And then she ends up working for this catering company where they are really, like this group of people really are not perfect. Like they're loud, they're crazy, they are totally, completely different from the world she has come from. And it scares her, but she really likes these people. And she meets Wes, one of the boys, who works at this catering company, and the two hit it off, and, well, you can probably tell, but I don't know, but like the characters from this book, I just loved them. They were all so interesting and wonderful. Like one of them is like obsessed with like this doomsday thing, but he's really funny about it. Wes was such a great guy that I loved reading about him. Macy kind of coming to terms with her father's death and like kind of coming to terms with the fact that she doesn't have to be this perfect person, that she is not perfect. I love it. I love this one so much. It's one of my favorites by Sarah Dessen. The next one I want to talk about is really kind of two, but they are sequel. One's a sequel, and I love them both so much that I want to talk about. It's Chasing Veermeer and the Wright 3 by Blue. I think you pronounce it Balliett. I'm not 100% sure. These books are, I would say, middle grade book, kind of adventure mystery books. I love them so much. They follow Peter and Calder as they try to, like, some sort of mystery happens and they kind of go around solving it unintentionally. And this one, a Vermeer painting, goes missing, and they end up trying to find it, finding it, and then in this one, a house by Frank Lloyd Wright is about to get demolished, I think, and they are trying to save it, but it's been a little while since I read it. But what I really liked about these was, even though it's middle grade, these kids end up in some pretty, like, scary situations, and that just was exciting, as weird as that sounds. They have to run from the bad guys. They are, like, getting hurt, but it's like these 6th graders are doing this, and it's just kind of fun to read about these 6th graders going around solving this actually pretty dangerous mystery, but it's done in such a way that it's exciting but not too scary, and you're never too worried for the characters. I'm gonna reread this soon. I love it so much. I want, like, everyone to read this book. Plus, it's illustrated by Brett Hellquist. He's one of my favorite artists. If you don't recognize his work, he does the Series of Unfortunate Events artwork, and I absolutely love it. And, like, to go along with all the mysterious stuff, there's, like, codes and stuff within the, like, his artwork for the story, and it's all littered throughout the books. And yeah, I mean, that just makes these books just as, like, even greater than they already were. Like, I highly recommend them. I know there's more, and I was just reading about that, and I want to get them and read them. Next ones I have, again, is a series. I couldn't pick one from this series and not talk about it because they all really just go together. But it's The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. And this is about these 4, kind of 5 people. Got Gangzy, Blue, Noah, Adam, and Ronan. And they're all friends, and they're on a quest to find the lost Welsh king, Owen Glendower. And each book kind of follows one step closer to them getting closer to find Owen Glendower. And it's so wonderful. Like, I love these books so much more than I thought I was going to. Maggie Stiefvater has such a way with writing that it really brought to life the magic, like the magicalness, like the magical elements within the story really brought them to life and made it seem believable that stuff could really be happening in our reality, because this is not some, like, fantasy land. This takes place in Virginia. And it's just, I loved how she was able to bring the magicalness to life, like really bring it to life. And not to mention the characters. Like, each character I love for different reasons. Like, they're all great. They're all written differently. They're all got their own issues and problems. And, like, sometimes even when reading a book that I like, it can be kind of a chore, but it really wasn't in reading these books. Like, I just flew through them, and then one minute I've started, and the next minute I'm at the end. Like, I loved this story so much. I read the first 2 books, The Raven King, The Raven Boys, and The Dream Thieves on my Kindle, and then I bought the last two, The Blue Lily, Lily Blue, and The Raven King, and it's actual books. So for Christmas, I asked for actual copies of the first two books so that I could have a complete set, because like I loved this series so much. I just needed all of them in book form so that I could hold them in my hands and read them, which I did just recently reread this book, like series. I love it. I love it. And the last one I wanted to talk about is, again, another series, but there are way too many books and they are way too big for me to hold them. But it's Harry Potter. Like, I couldn't not put Harry Potter on this list. Harry Potter is such, like, it's my childhood. I mean, it's really what got me probably into reading. I mean, it really was what got me into fandom. So I'm very thankful for that. The characters, I mean, I remember trying to read the first book, I think in kindergarten. Like, it's been with me for as long as I can even remember. The one I have here is the 6th one, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I decided to grab that one because it's my favorite. Like, out of the series, I really enjoyed, I think, this one the most, even though they are all great. And I mean, it's about Harry Potter who learns he's a wizard and goes on all this adventures in each book, and they're so great. I've been meaning to do a reread of these because I haven't recently, but even if I've grown out of the Harry Potter fandom, it's still a part of me. I still love this series. It's like my number one series of what I want people to read. And it's just, it's going to stay with me forever. Like, that was my childhood. That was such a big part of my childhood and everything, that how can I not put it on a list of my favorite books? So, yep, that's all I had that I want to talk about. There's more books that I've read and I have loved, but these were the books that I like, that have really stood out to me, that I absolutely loved. No, like, hands down, I will probably still think about them and go with them, and they will not be off my bookshelf. Like, they are staples on my bookshelf. I want to know what maybe some of your favorite books are. If you've read any of those, or you have other ones that you really like. I mean, just let me know, because I love hearing what other people like favorite books are, what they like or didn't like, or yeah, everything. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later.